I'm here with Drew.
Hi,
Bamford
Myriam. It's good to be back.
Yeah, of HTC. You are the VP of the Creative Labs, correct?
That's right. Creative Labs is our cross-functional team that does both product design, prototyping, research, and development.
We haven't chatted in a while.
It has been a while.
So, M9, that's the big news of the show.
Right here.
Do you have any? Did you happen to bring the gold and silver one?
I don't have
there's
a
an
I don't have a
ongoing
gold and silver
theme
one with
in my
me.
podcast lately. You know, I do a bunch about silver and gold because we saw the leaks earlier, and we were totally stoked. Everybody that I know, at least in the media.
Excellent.
About
That's
the
great
silver
to
and
hear.
gold. There it is. Silver
there it is.
and gold.
It magically appeared on the sofa. Absolutely.
Ah, this is so.
So we spent a lot of time on this new finishing process.
Tell me about it. So one of the things I'm kind of stunned by personally is, you know, you've kind of gone back to a bit of that M7, less slippery.
The sharpness.
Yeah, the M8 was a little slippery. The M7 was kind of perfect to me, but you've maintained the radiuses, those kind of softer curves of the M8 with the nice grippiness of the M7. So most importantly, how did you do the metals? Because if this is unibody...
just to step back for a second, the goal, you hit the goal right on the head. The idea was to combine that kind of precise hand feel and grippiness of the M7 with the kind of ergonomic back of the M8, which really fills out your hand, feels soft in your hand.
It is so good.
So we hope that this is the best of both worlds.
I'm
that
just
was the
going
goal.
to drop the brightness a little bit so that we can see it on camera here.
And then the idea on the finishing was, how could we take a unibody machined aluminum phone and actually make multiple finishes on it? And we were inspired by high-end watches, where it's actually quite common on very high-end watches to have this dual-tone kind of finish.
How do you do that?
So it involves some very careful masking, and what we're able to do is do one anodizing finish on the back, and then brush the back with this beautiful hairline finish that's also very jewelry-like. And then we mask off and do another anodizing run on the side where we do gold anodizing.
So that's the secret.
And then we polish that.
Yeah. And so that's brushed on the back but polished on the side.
That's right.
No,
and you see that also on the gunmetal. Our new gunmetal gray is a bit darker than the previous one, but the gunmetal still has that beautiful hairline finish on the back and then the polished edge.
And the polished edge, you know, it almost looks like it's not metal because it's almost like some sort of like piano lacquer, it looks like in person. So, you know, you guys can't really tell very well here, but this is incredible levels of finish. Like, we're talking like watches, jewelry, right? Like, it's
that's
just
the idea.
unreal.
It should feel very precious and almost like a luxury product.
I love that pattern you have right here.
Right. So that's not only a design feature on the power button, but also an ergonomic consideration.
Feel it.
The idea is you can identify that power button by feel.
So, yeah, I mean, this is honestly the best, I think the best design of Mobile World Congress in terms of smartphones.
I appreciate that.
I really think you nailed it. I was a little concerned last year with the M8 because I never dropped mine, but it came close a few times. And there's nothing worse than particularly an exquisite design to have it chipped or something, you know?
That's why you need the dot view case.
You know, Jeff will make that happen for me this year. I didn't get one last year.
And we have a new dot view case. The cool thing about the new dot view case
I saw that.
is that it's got software changes, but it also has a clear back. So you no longer have to cover up all of the beautiful design with the case. You can actually see the aluminum through the back of the dot view case now.
So welcome to the design discussion of Mobile World Congress, the design discussion, because really this is all we're going to talk about. No, this is great.
It's important to us.
We're going to talk about
the
guts a little bit and the camera and the display, but I think for me it's the design, and I love how you've got this the same as you did the antenna line, the zero gap.
Right.
You have the zero gap around the headphone
We actually injection
jack.
mold the plastic directly into the metal part.
So what made you zero gap the headphone jack this year?
We wanted that to be a more seamless fit into the body, and to also offer a little bit easier plugging in for the headphones.
But you chose not to zero gap the USB.
Yeah, because of the way the USB spec works, that wasn't possible.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, because of grounding and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because you guys can't see this. There's actually a bevel on the edge of the
it's
USB
a very fine
port.
Machine detail.
I love it. Like, you know, I have a bevel on a lot of my phones. So it's from inserting my plug and wearing out the edge.
You created your own chamfer.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And so you got the very large infrared port on the top.
That's the IR lens on the top.
How many sensors, like how many LEDs do you have behind here? Just one and diffused?
There are a couple of LEDs because this thing can also receive.
It's both ways.
It can learn.
Okay.
From your remote.
So that's
an
improvement, right? You didn't have that.
The M8 had that as well.
Yeah, M8 had that too.
Yeah, so in the ideal case, you can use one of the built-in codes, which is a huge database in the Peel app, but it can also learn additional codes from your remote if you need to.
So is it narrower than the M8? It seems you have less bezel.
It's very slightly narrower, and it feels narrower also because of the way the side is a bit shorter to give it that sharp feel. And we now have one of the other nice details is that the entire bezel is now a single part.
And
previously
it's metal
there were a lot
too,
more seams.
Is it metal?
It's actually plastic.
Okay.
This is injection molded plastic.
Wow, it's really well done because
because it's a single part, it feels a lot more seamless.
I get it. Yeah. And you no longer have a joint or do you, between the glass and the plastic part here, right?
There is a joint, but it's so much tighter with this new bezel that you really don't see any seams at all.
That's incredible. And so tell me about the display. I mean, I unfortunately didn't really get a chance to dig in the specs too much to see if there's any difference.
So this is a Super LCD 3.
So it's still SLCD 3, 1080p 5 inches, right?
That's right. That's right. We still think it's one of the best displays on the market.
It is really gorgeous. I mean, since C1X, you guys have had this floating, I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, it just kind of floats, basically.
It's very close to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the effect we're going for. And also very true-to-life color reproduction. I mean, compared to some of the other types of displays on the market.
AMOLED, anyone?
AMOLED, for example. It feels much more realistic. Go for it.
Is it in-cell in terms of the touch layer? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Because it's so usually when there is no gap, there's no gap, I think. It's probably in-glass, in-cell.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I believe it is.
And so, in the back, the camera is very different this year. So, tell us a little bit about this. I'll be frank and upfront with you. I know that there are technical limitations to this, but I am really bummed that you have no OIS because I really feel it's a defining feature today. But of course, you've done the 20 megapixel resolution, which is, I think, it's not about megapixels to me, but I think a lot of people nowadays expect the ability to zoom, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, as much as I love ultra pixels or the old generation cameras, the ability to gather light is second to none. And you've put it in the front now. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
But I think for the main camera, a lot of people want to be able to crop, right?
Yeah, that's what we found. I mean, we heard the feedback from our customers about wanting to zoom in, wanting to crop, wanting to use these images, for example, in a Zoe where it pans around the image, and they want that high quality that you can get with the large sensor. And this is a very modern 20 megapixel sensor as well with the latest BSI technology in it, so you will get better sensitivity, lower noise. Also, of course, with the new Sapphire lens cover, you're going to get high-quality photos throughout the life of the phone. And, in the past, you've had to put up with some level of scratching with a glass lens.
For sure.
And here, 6 months later, you're going to get
it's
photos that are just as sharp as on day one.
Can you tell me more, like, who's your partner for the sensor at all? Is that a secret?
No, I can't tell you.
Okay. No worries. Of course, autofocus. What's the f-stop on that? Do you know?
It's f2.0.
2.0. Well, there you go. So
it still gathers a lot of light.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
And of course, we're still fine tuning the processing, but we're really happy about the results we're getting already with our image processing software to reduce noise, to give you better color rendition.
Right?
It's very fast capture. It's
That's
quite
what I
impressive.
noticed when I played with it at the event. I was really pretty impressed actually by the amount of it just seems like just a tiny bit faster, but it's just that tiny bit that matters.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, something that HTC's been doing since I remember
we've been
1X,
very focused on that. Quick camera launch, quick capture, because we know that there's so many points in that process where you can miss the moment if we're not as fast as we can be.
For sure. So I'm just going to run through the specs because not everybody has followed here. Snapdragon 810, obviously the latest and greatest from Qualcomm. 3 gigs of RAM. You get 32 gigs of built-in storage and a micro SD card slot. That's a big differentiator from your competition this year.
Yes, it is.
So that's pretty awesome.
Well, we know, especially with the large camera sensor, we want to give people the option to have a lot of storage if they want to capture a lot of photos.
What else? Let's talk about the ultra pixel in the front. I don't think you call it that this year. I'm sorry if I'm using that word.
We do. No.
Oh, you still
call
it? Okay.
We're talking about how essentially we decided to take the ultra pixel that was in the main camera previously and put it on the front camera, because so often when you're taking selfies, you're in a low light environment, right? You're in a bar with your friends, for example, and you want that low light capability.
And it nails it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it does every time.
It's got a super wide-angle lens.
Is it f2.0 still, like last year? Or is
that's
because of the
actually
wide
a good
angles
question.
I'm
not sure about the aperture. Probably because of the lens, it's going to be a bit different.
Yeah. What is this, autofocus lens or just a wide-angle fixed focus? Do you know?
It's autofocus.
It is autofocus.
Yeah,
so, this is important, guys. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot more phones are now having autofocus front-facing cameras. Yep. Generally, it's not in the specs, but I think that makes a big difference,
Absolutely.
too.
I think so.
And then you have the proximity sensor, and of course, let's talk about the boom sound.
The boom sound
you guys have
is better than
again,
ever. We of course think even our M8 today still has the best. Until the M9 came out, had the best sound available on a smartphone, and now with this phone, we've also teamed up with Dolby to deliver 5.1 channel surround sound via the front-facing speakers. So we're using Dolby. We're also using some Qualcomm technology to create this sound sphere that actually, when you're watching a movie or a video on YouTube on your phone, you get that surround sound experience.
That's really cool.
It's really impressive.
I'll have to try that out when I get one. I'm looking forward to it.
We can also do it through the headphones, of course.
Dolby headphones, basically, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to work there, so I know a lot about their technology. It's pretty impressive stuff, and it's incredible to me how it's kind of shrunk down from the movie theater to the home theater to now.
Right.
You can just set this up somewhere.
Absolutely.
With a kickstand case and just enjoy this really incredible experience.
And we're also super excited with this phone about extending that amazing sound experience into your environment. So we've evolved HTC Connect by adding support for more types of speakers, for example. So we now work with Harman Kardon on their Blackfire-powered speakers that will do multi-room synchronized audio.
Yep.
And also Qualcomm all-play speakers from people like Panasonic and Monster. And what we've done is made it super easy to make that connection. So you just do your 3-finger swipe, and you can automatically connect to Harman Kardon, all-play speakers, of course, Miracast, Bluetooth, DLNA. Yeah. We make all those technologies accessible via very simple interaction.
You were one of the first to support the aptX format on Bluetooth, which is one of the clearest and best sounding. Yeah. And I've always been a big fan of your headphone amps.
Absolutely. We think we have the best.
I always use exotic headphones that are hard to drive. And usually that means I have to plug in an external headphone amp, but that's not very portable. Right. And when I travel, I want the good headphones, but I don't want the headphone amp.
Right.
So
we have a very powerful amp
and it's very versatile in terms of like impedances and stuff. So you've kept that up, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's go back to imaging a little bit. So, of course, 4K video, I presume?
4K video.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And so are you doing any kind of stabilization with the video or even the photography? Is there a way to turn it? Since you don't have
We are
optical,
doing some electronic stabilization.
Is that something you can defeat, or is it baked into the firmware and the imaging
It's
chain?
baked into the whole firmware.
Do you know how it's done? Is it using multiple pictures and taking the best shots like Apple does, or is it more like a kind of floating window?
I can't tell you about
you don't know.
The details. You'd have to talk to our imaging
No
guy.
problem. I just thought I'd ask. What else?
We are super excited. Just on the imaging topic, we have a bunch of new features around imaging. One is our HTC One Gallery, which is really cool. It will combine images from all of your cloud storages, whether it's Google Drive, Dropbox, Facebook, or Flickr, and the local storage into one view. So you can browse a timeline of all your images. One of the problems I think a lot of us have is you have multiple cloud storage options available to you, and you upload photos to different places, and you actually lose track of them. You can't find them. So now you can browse them in a timeline, or you can use our image match searching to try to find images of a single person across all those storage
you demoed
points.
this in the press conference. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's quite cool.
And you still have the places one, the locations, right?
Absolutely. We have a bunch of different views. We can also do lots of cool things with the photos now as well. One of the things we didn't talk about at the press conference is that we're working with Pinhole Press to allow you to create books and cards and that kind of thing and print them directly from your phone. With the 20 megapixel images, this is actually really cool. It's very high quality paper, high quality printing. You don't even need a PC to do this kind of thing anymore. Really cool. Tell us a bit about the software. Obviously, it's running Lollipop with Sense 7. That's right. Can you run down the Sense 7 features, and if you want, you can show them at the camera. Yeah, so one of the things we're really excited about is some of the stuff we're doing on the home screen now. We have this new area of the home screen that we call the contextual widget. And what that does is it understands where you are, whether you're at home or at work or out and about, and it will automatically change the apps that appear in that area of the home screen to reflect your context. So if you frequently use, for example, your music app when you're at home. Then when you're at home, the music app will bubble up to the surface and be really easy to access on your home screen. So it's a smarter way to manage apps. We're also doing some nice small things like we have a special downloads folder that collects all of the downloaded apps so that they don't scatter all over your home screen the way they do on a typical Android phone. And we're even suggesting apps that you don't have yet based on the apps that you use on your phone. So we observe your behavior, what you actually like, and then we suggest apps that we think you'll like based on that behavior. We also are, so that's a way of personalizing the experience. I think making it feel more like it like adapts to you.
Yeah.
But we also allow you to express yourself kind of aesthetically, right? So we have a whole new theming area that allows you, of course, to browse cool themes that are crowdsourced from our community of theme builders. But also, there's a really cool way of creating a theme that's super easy, where you can just go into the gallery, choose an image that you might find would make a cool wallpaper, for example. There's a theme button right at the bottom of the screen. When you choose that image, we automatically set that as your wallpaper, of course, but then also extract the color palette of that image to automatically generate a theme that matches. So you'll get, for example, matching icon colors, and then, of course, you can flip through different options for different icon shapes and sizes and colors. And then if you want to, you can further edit one of these themes to make it exactly the way you want, or you can just accept it. So it's really just like a almost one-touch theming process.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit more, and generally speaking, this is very much you seem to be iterating on the design that you've had since the M7 and refining it and polishing it and making it more even awesome than it already is awesome. So do you think this is going to be the continuing trend for HTC in terms of the flagship going forward? Or will you be potentially taking another direction in the future? I mean, I know you can't speak about future products, but I'm just wondering, obviously the competition this year kind of threw something really kind of weird to the, on the table, for better or worse. And I'm wondering, and Apple's been very known for iterating. So Samsung threw something kind of odd, and Apple kind of knows to how to refine. Where do you see yourself going in terms of design? You've experimented with the Desire line in a very funky way, I think. And I'm wondering if you're going to continue experimenting more on the Desire and keeping the One this kind of pure experience.
I think what you'll see is, first of all, we intend to always have the best design at both price points, right? At the Desire price point and at the 1 Series price point. And what that means can change, I think, over time. So this year we did iterate on the design because we really believe we're creating an iconic design language for the 1 Series with this product. And we're honing it over time, just like Porsche has been honing the 911 for 50 years, right? We don't think we're going to be using exactly the same design language for 50 years, but we think it's reasonable to evolve it over time to address all the little niggles that make it not perfect, right? We want to perfect this product. Now, that's not to say that we won't try some new things in the future. I think you'll see us experiment with different form languages, with different materials. I think there's still a lot of opportunity there to do cool things, but the goal will always be to have the most premium, most beautiful, best designed product on the market.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great approach. I think it's very valid that Apple tends to be doing this. It seems to work for them.
And we're not interested in gimmicks, right? We're not going to come up with new design details just because we want to come up with a new design detail.
Just because you want to be different.
We want to come up with something that's actually beautiful and functional.
Great. And so the other thing I was going to ask you a little bit about is in terms of software, like the evolution of the Sense UI. I've always liked, since the One X, I think the One X for me is a pivotal device. It's one of my favorite HTC phones. And even though the One M7 is also really significant because it was the beginning of this design language you've been iterating on, I think that Sense with the One X from then onward has been really lightweight and really just adding to the Android experience, unlike many other skins.
That's definitely
which
our
are
goal.
Really terrible. So is that
we only want to make improvements,
right?
And
so
we don't want to detract from Android, which is a great foundation to build on top of.
That's clearly what you've been doing, and I'm trying to figure out how do you evaluate feedback from users, of course, but internally, you're a design-driven studio. I've been there in Seattle; it's amazing.
Right.
how do you get there? Like, how do you find?
I think the difference in our approach is, as you said, we really are a design-driven organization. It's not a marketing-driven product, right? We don't get a brief that we have to differentiate somehow, or we have to add such and such features to the list, right? What we're doing is we're actually, of course, we use the phones ourselves, and we think about what would we want on a day-to-day basis, and we go out and talk to customers who may have slightly different needs, but we're really responding in a very sensitive way to how do we create a product that fits into people's everyday lives and that actually offers real functional benefits on a day-to-day basis.
So that's really the essence of it for you guys.
That's the goal, is to make the best possible experience. And if Android does something well, we don't need to change it.
Exactly.
Right? But we do think it's always possible to improve.
How was it working with Lollipop this year to get Sense 7 up?
Lollipop has been great. I mean, there's some
it's a really nice
excellent new
raw,
features in it.
New user experience.
There's some beautiful design, and so we still have our own signature design language for HTC Sense, but one of the things that is nice is we feel that our design language and Google's are actually quite complementary. So there's not a lot of clashing parts of the UI. There's quite a bit of harmony, I think.
Yeah, great. I mean, it's one thing to see it in pictures, guys. It's another thing to hold this phone. It's a really, really gorgeous design.
Yeah, come out and pick one up. Try
yes, exactly. Listen, I think we're out of time almost, and I wanted to thank you for being here and bringing these two devices and walking us through some of the the ideas and the processes and particularly like this mystery of how do they do the two finishes on a unibody that makes perfect sense.
It takes a very careful hand. So we went through a lot of iterations on that
really
process.
That's just the silver and gold is a stroke of genius because it looks absolutely stunning. So congrats on that.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Myriam.
Drew of HTC joining us. I think stay tuned. We're going to have more interviews on the live stream here. I'm Myriam from Mobile Congress 2015.